Pamela Good of Beyond Basics. Thank you for joining us on One Detroit today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Nolan.
So, Beyond Basics is a literacy program, a tutoring program, and you have had some very good success working in the Detroit Public Community School District and other districts, teaching children to read, bringing them to grade level. Tell us about your program and how it works.
Well, we are unique in a way. The student body that we serve, our curriculum is known curriculum. I think the science of reading is out there. The way to go about getting kids reading is known. Applying it to those that are farthest behind is where we're really unique. We work with those kids who are more than two grade levels behind. And, that makes all the difference, just believing in them and rolling out what they need. And it works.
And it's intensive one-on-one tutoring, correct? And you all say that in most cases, within 6 weeks, you could bring a child to grade level reading skills.
Absolutely. It's an average of 6 weeks. I think the story really is that it's not a one size fits all.
Mhm.
We want to give kids what works for those that are just a little bit behind and think that it's going to work for everyone. But it is that intensive one-on-one that's an hour a day, every day, from anywhere to 4 to 14 weeks
Mhm.
that gets that child reading. And so it isn't a one size fits all. It's very personalized. We give an individual prescription for literacy for an individual child.
So Dr. Nikolai Vitti, the superintendent of Detroit schools, has asked you to scale up this program basically as rapidly as you can. What is the scope of the problem in the Detroit school system and in Michigan as a whole?
Well, you'll find in communities like Detroit that it's 85% that I say fall into that literacy gap. They're
Mhm.
more than a grade level behind. But what's surprising, Nolan, is that almost any school district, you could take Rochester Hills or Birmingham, and they're coming in somewhere between 15 and 25% that are also in that gap for different reasons. It's not generational illiteracy. It would be ADHD, dyslexia, autism, English language learners. And so this epidemic is spreading, and we really just need to give kids what they need. They're showing up to school anyway. Let's just get them literate while they're there.
So you say 85% of the kids in Detroit, in the Detroit school district, in terms of raw numbers, that adds up to about 43,000
Yes.
kids. And your program averages about $3,000 a kid to bring in the tutors and put the curriculum in place. So that's roughly $130 million to
Yes.
get every child in Detroit reading at grade level. It's a big amount of money for the
Mhm.
school district, but what would its impact be on the district's performance as well as the overall cost for the state?
Well, year after year, we fund, our tax dollars fund public education for every child that shows up. And
Mhm.
so we're spending over the K-12 investment of those 43,000 kids, we're going to be spending $8.6 billion to educate them. And
Uh-huh.
they're not going to be able to access that investment unless they can read. And so I think the $130 million is a big number, but when you look at that, that's the investment to access 8.6 that $1 billion. I mean, that is something that we really just need to do.
And in terms of the performance of the schools, when you talk about standardized testing and other measures that we use to
Mhm.
grade schools on, how would it change things?
Well, it would change everything because now teachers couldn't have literate kids in the classroom. Our model was designed assuming that kids could read close to grade level. If you're a
Mhm.
little bit behind, the model works. We have an excellent educational model in America. It works well in some communities, but it has a drastic flaw. And that is if you're more than a grade level behind, and I know I'm repeating myself, but if you're more than a grade level behind, our model does not provide what you need. So Dr. Vitti and the teachers are not provided really the resources to do that. And I would say that this is a silent epidemic. It's been with us well over 2 decades. And we now, maybe it started out you had 20% of the kids that couldn't read. But year after year, we've ignored it. And we have 85% of the kids in a classroom for a teacher, and they can't read. We have, they're frontline workers, just like we have in our hospitals right now. But we have not flattened that curve. We have not helped them deal with all the issues in poverty. And literacy is a great place to start.
Well, in terms of inequality, being able to read and participate in the economy, that's key, isn't it?
It's absolutely key. We all agree that education makes all the difference.
Mhm.
And we need to get people literate, reading and writing in the language of our curriculum. And it seems like a no-brainer, right? But we've missed it. As society, it's snuck up on us, and there are lots of reasons for it. And we've titled our campaign, Be the Solution. And to
Mhm.
clarify, Dr. Vitti has asked us to focus on the high school kids. And
Mhm.
that's 12,000 in high school. And there are 11,000 of them that need our help. Our goal is to get every child literate, and we need the help of funders to do that.
So you've got a fundraising campaign to
Yes.
do the high school teaching, tutoring that Dr. Vitti's asked you to do. That's about $36 million. Who are you reaching out to? I mean, where is that money coming from?
Well, General Motors stepped up with $1 million just in January for us to do this work. So they're kind of leading the way. They had supported us for a number of years in K-12 investment, established a family literacy center, so they knew us well. But we're reaching out to the business community, to the foundations. We're having conversations with them right now. And I think that, the inequities have kind of they're everywhere. We see them everywhere now. The language and the news is talking about this population. And I know there's inequity, but it's also a community that's deeply suffering. And we need to get in there and help them. And many are capable and want to work, but you can't work in America without being able to read.
So if you had the money, how long would it take you to close that literacy gap in Detroit?
If it's the high school kids, it's a 3-year plan
Okay.
to tutor those kids. If it's the entire district, it's going to take 5 to 7 years, depending on how everything comes together. This isn't rocket science. We train a tutor. They are staff. They work an hour a day with kids, 5 days a week, and we get them literate. So hiring tutors, anyone, all walks of life can be a tutor. What's
Mhm.
really in the way is the funding. And I know Detroit is such a generous community. I've watched them for 20 years help us, but also bail out the city in a number of ways. And so I'm counting on them to fund this effort. And you don't have to wait 5 years, Nolan, to see that this works. After one cycle of kids, you see the impact of that. And I think that once they look at that, they're going to continue.
Pamela Good, Beyond Basics, thank you for joining us today, and good luck with your campaign.
Oh, thank you, Nolan. Appreciate it so much.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.